The Jeff Meacham Network's Multiverse of Media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment.
Online entertainment.
NoDQ.com. NoDQ.com.
NoDQ.com.
NoDQ.com. NoDQ.com.
NoDQ.com.
NoDQ.com. NoDQ.com.
The people that know more about me know this. I am just a simple man and a lifelong fan of professional wrestling. Damn it! Winner is the NoDQ Galaxy, the Jeff Meacham Network, the ATW Crew, Indie Force, or anything related to For the Win Productions. The gears of wrestling keep on turning, and we are here to give our thoughts, previews, and predictions. Good day to you all, and welcome to our panel for this week's Simply Predicting. On a night where we honor legacy and further create more history, looking towards who will lead this generation in Impact Wrestling. It is their biggest show of the year. It is their premiere pay-per-view. We will see who officially finishes the journey and claims victory, as all are now bound for glory. Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to Simply Predicting here, courtesy of Kazini Steels and the Superman's brand. You know what this is, for I am the simple man of the simple brand and the voice of the JMN, forever grateful for pro wrestling. Damn it! And my name is Noel Foster, and with me, of course, as always, my co-analyst now lately at All Things Wrestling, whether it's WWE, NXT, Ring of Honor, AEW, and Impact to a degree, the renegade of wrestling, CEO of Kazini Studios, JJ Williams. JJ, good to see you once again. Wrestling has no time limit, it seems, and no stopping point, and we are in for one hell of a time come tomorrow night. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well, good sir. I'm doing well. It's been a nice quiet day. It's been a nice quiet week. You know, when you look at all the shenanigans that occurred last week, it's nice to have a quiet week in wrestling.
Right? Take it easy and just casually enjoy stuff, man, for the love of the business. But I digress. Shout out, by the way, to my all-elite brother from ATW family. Happy birthday to Anthony, King A-Train. Anthony, I hope you have a wonderful birthday. And go on a Rampage if you can. Enjoy Rampage if you can later tonight. Speaking of tonight, of course, we always do these per East Coast time, 8 p.m. Standard Time. I know you get the West Coast feed. I know there are people there here in the East Coast that get Fox. I don't. That's why I choose to do these as I do. But I kindly would like to remind everybody, please, no SmackDown spoilers. And if you want to dictate the conversation, as Mr. Reliable Walter Cruz said, hardworking man, donate, dictate. Again, Super Chat Kazini Studios. It is as simple as that. Want to give a shout also to everybody that's part of my City Predicting All Elite, botch. I'm tired. Oh, by the way, I also did make this because I know we're going to probably botch at least once or twice. I got botched by there, just so you know. Anyway, I'm a fan of Let's Make a Deal. And that's the first one, I'm sure, of many tonight. For those that are part of the Impactful League, the Impactful Faithful, or the first timers, thank you for participating, as right now we continue moving forward. Ashley holds it down in first place, followed by Joshi, Rob, and It's Me. And Chris is right there too. JJ, you're doing very well for your first Impact League. You're smack dab in the middle with 50. Walter's just beating you by 1.
You know, I'm actually pretty impressed with that, you know, considering I don't watch the show on a regular basis. Hell, at all, if we're being honest, you know.
Right.
The only time I seem to see anything is when I'm doing a watch along, you know, whether I'm calling the action, producing, whatever. That's the only time I ever really stay up with the current Impact Wrestling product. So for me to be middle of the package there, you know, I'm impressed with myself. I'm not going to lie.
There you go. And of course, my other friends out there, Scott Cater, my fellow horseman of predictions, Mark, Christopher Rotz, and of course, Jeff Chadwick. We, of course, have some of the No DQ family here, including David Diaz. James, take care of yourself, brother, as always. So, hope everybody's continuing to having a fun time. Shout out to the predicting fan that's also part of this, too, including Dwayne Atkinson, who just celebrated a birthday. So, guys, keep having fun, keep city predicting, keep enjoying life, and enjoying wrestling. And with that being said, again, you will find the link to the forum also in the chat, and it will be in the description down below after this video concludes too. So without further ado, JJ, my friend, let's get right into it. So again, Impact Wrestling brings to us Bound for Glory. It is their biggest pay-per-view of the year. And here at the Championship Network Multiverse of Media, we will be covering it. Me and Datila Nola will be giving you the full call, and that call will start with pre-show coverage before the pre-show hype, if you want to call it that, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Pacific. And again, you can get this pay-per-view via Impact Wrestling's YouTube channel or your local pay-per-view provider like Fight, like I did. It's $40, but trust me, the quantity meets the quantity and the quality. It will be well worth your money, I assure you. And it's going to be clobbering time, but again, we'll see soon enough who rises to the occasion, who is bound for glory. Speaking of being bound for glory, we know who is bound to be inducted into the Impact Wrestling Hall of Fame, joining the likes of Jeff Jarrett, Sting, Earl Hebner, Gail Kim, Awesome Kong, and even last year's inductee, Raven. They have 3 inductees this year, including the Knockout OG, you guessed it, Tracy Brooks will be inducted into the Hall of Fame by Gail Kim herself, and the immortal voices of NWA, TNA, Impact, whatever the heck you want to call it, that brought us the freaking MC that brought forward Tom Hannigan and Matthew Raywalt and me to a degree, just for fun. But hey, people compare me to Joey Styles. That's got to count for something. The immortal voices, R.I.P. Don West, and of course, Professor himself, Mike Today, who will be inducted to the Hall of Fame by Scott D'Amore. So before we get into the matches, JJ, again, as we look towards history, we honor legacy. What's your thoughts on this year's Hall of Fame class for Impact Wrestling? Mike Tenay, Don West, and Tracy Brooks.
I think it's long overdue for all 3 of them. To my knowledge, this is the biggest class Impact has ever put in. Considering it's 3 people. Granted, West and Tenay are going in as a tag team, if you will. But it's 3 people getting inducted in the Hall of Fame this year. That's crazy to me to think that, especially Tracy Brooks, isn't in here already. You know, and some people will say, well, she didn't really do anything. And I can concede that depending on what you look at as qualifications. I mean, before there was a Knockouts division, Tracy Brooks was everywhere on an Impact broadcast,
enforcing Knockouts law that she created.
Yeah, and even before that, Tracy Brooks was the Miss Elizabeth. She was the Alundra Blaze. She was the Sunny. She was that focal point woman when there really wasn't something to have a focal point for.
Yeah.
You know, and so to see her finally get her just due, I think is so awesome. Mike Tenay, I have always been a fan of Mike Tenay. Even going back to World Championship Wrestling, you know, if he wasn't on commentary, I would generally turn the commentators out. Like I wouldn't pay attention as much because Tenay, I always felt never tried to get himself over.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he wasn't a gimmick. He wasn't Jerry the King Lawler. You know, he wasn't Bobby the Brain Heenan. He wasn't even Jim Ross or Gorilla Monsoon. He just told the facts. He was, you know, Jack Webb on Dragnet. You know, just the facts, ma'am.
All I want is the facts. All I need is the facts. Just tell me.
Educate me, especially considering when I came into the fandom, you know, late 98. Didn't really start watching WCW till 99. So I only had about 2 years of them not even at their prime. I'm trying to learn about these people. I'm trying to get all the information I can. I don't need the color commentary backstories and the shenanigans, which, don't get me wrong, important to telling a story of a match. It's my
Right.
job
They're
alongside
elements.
you, you
Yeah.
know, but I need to know the details about these people. I'm trying to get educated. And that was Mike Tenay, to the point where he got the name The Professor. And then, of course, the man whose name is on our marquee, the West Coast professor, Jeff Meacham, as named by Mike Tenay. You know, so for Tenay to kind of bestow that upon Jeff, that means a lot. Don West, I don't want to sound like I'm being negative about Don West. Don West was a character.
Oh, absolutely.
Very much so. You know, and the whole, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah. I say joking sometimes just because, again, I'm not Don West, but I still remember that man's energy. And sometimes that energy
Exactly.
does overtake me.
Exactly. And I mean, don't get me wrong. There were times and places where they fit. You know, Don West and his "You've Got to Be Kidding Me" was very much akin to Joey Styles's "Oh My God."
Oh my God!
You know, is very much the same energy. The difference was Joey Styles was Mike Tenay with the Don West catchphrase thrown in there.
He did it all on his own, but with a balance that didn't overload him.
The one thing I will say about Don West is that he was the perfect counter to Tenay, and his passion was completely unrivaled.
Yeah.
You could tell how much he loved and believed in the product, even when nobody else did. Hell, Tenay sitting next to him may not have been believing in it. West believed in it.
He never let up until he couldn't kick out a three, and now he's up in
Yeah.
the heavenly
And that,
gates.
and I don't want to be negative Nelly, but I'm wondering if that's why they're putting them in this year. Is
It's,
on the
yeah.
heels of his passing. You know, maybe with Don West's untimely passing, people within Impact who went back to those days are like, you know, Don needs to go in, but Don doesn't really deserve to go in here by himself. Put Mike and Don in there together. Sold.
JR and Jerry the King Lawler, they were put in the same Hall of Fame class, but not together, but as separate inductees, to your point, because again, I go back to one of my favorite WrestleManias, WrestleMania 23. Stay tuned for that, folks. We will continue our journey to 240. More on that to come. But yeah, and it was like I was talking with Jerry. Go check out the Simple Powerful Duo pre-Ultimate Super Predicting, folks, earlier.
Great video that went live this morning.
Thank you. Take care, Jerry.
I raise my glass to you.
I'll see you down the road, brother. Always a pleasure in general. But it's like we talk about today when it comes to the presentation of a wrestling product. And maybe that's how we also gravitate towards people as well. It's one of those things where you look at, okay, the lead voice that you hear. What are they giving you? Are they giving you everything you need or one part of it? Like, is it half and half, or are they giving you too much of one thing? I go back and I think about Michael Cole with how many times he said Snickers during the freaking main event, but he was also still able to tell us a little bit about the story of that main event at WrestleMania. But again, I just feel like Michael Cole was a replay pull string for this, brought to you by Snickers. Michael Cole is a guy that better tells a story when he knows about it. He doesn't know everything. And I don't necessarily want to belittle him in effort of him trying to get everything on everybody, but there is certain stories he is much stronger in telling versus others. It's as clear as day. And then Corey Graves, he's just over obnoxious because all he tells about is the character dynamic, unless he was with them in NXT and gives more of the athletic background, being a former NXT athlete himself. Excalibur, he is a walking wrestling encyclopedia, but he's more so wrestling on the moves, but he tries to give a little bit of a history towards, okay, this is what the discipline in. Okay, but how much more do we know about the actual person and what is really the story going on in comes Tony Schiavone, who again subtly he gives more story than Excalibur can on play-by-play. It's one of those things where you talk about play-by-play color. Play-by-play talks about the wrestling, talks about the moves, but they are supposed to add to the story. They're supposed to push those color people to give this element to the story, answer a question. It's how you and I kind of bounce off each other in WWE. And I'll say it till the cows come home. The hardest thing to narrate blindly to a person is sports entertainment. I don't give a damn what anybody says. Because pro wrestling looks more so at the athletic capability and who could barely outdo the other inside those four ropes. I don't necessarily think WWE puts a whole lot into that with some of their stories. They do focus a lot more on the story, and even if the story is slow, it's on us to guide it to keep people invested. With NWA TNA, the energy seemed like it was nonstop at times, especially during the main event. The wrestling was absolutely phenomenal, pun intended. And Mike today, he tried to keep up the energy with Don West when it came to those crazy moments that were in the ring, while still telling the dynamics that were being brought in front of us.
Well, I mean, to not to cut you off, but to your point, you talk about how NWA TNA was nonstop action. That's the whole point of their name, was total nonstop action. So they had to deliver that.
They had to deliver at the time, and I do think that added more pressure on both Don West and Mike Today. Even when TNA became Impact Wrestling, and Mike Today was there during the early stages of that change brought to us by Mick Foley during the Immortal era.
Yeah.
How did I survive that? It's one of those things where, again, Mike Today, he always was the guy to bring you in to the product, to tell you about the talent, but also give you enough on the wrestling. There's never been a perfect dynamic or a perfect way to illustrate wrestling from a commentary standpoint. There's a strength and a weakness to it in trying to be somebody you're not and trying to find yourself. And I think, bottom line, it was that chemistry of Don West and Mike Today that was just a great balance for one another that held this company up so damn long and pushed so many talents and stories forward. Similar to how good old JR, Jim Ross, and Jerry the King Lawler did that, even though Jay was more so, like you said, on-screen character, in-ring athletic dynamic, considering he was literally still one of Memphis' greatest wrestlers. But again, what brought me into this business is commentary. It is the storytelling. It is that voice. It is that MC. And for me, it was good old JR, and it was the likes of Mike Today, Tony Schiavone, and even Jerry the King Lawler with his obnoxious energy. Kind of like sometimes when you throw me off guard with a freaking one-liner as you're supposed to, and I just don't know how to answer. Damn it.
But to that point, I came up in the era of JR and the King, of Cole and the King.
Right.
Of Cole and Taz. So that's what I know, is that kind of goofy comedic color man where I can get over the semantics of the story and I can tell you some of the intricacies and what makes this so special. Just like I did when we did the members only call from Unbreakable 05 and giving that history of Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels prior to the TNA era.
And I love that. Because
but at the same time, if I see something that catches my eye, I can give you that witty one-liner, or I know how to poke at you, especially when it comes to Jeff and Karen Jarrett, Aubrey Edwards. I'm just making a point. I'm not going to start running down, but I know how to ruffle your feathers, how when you start to get on me for maybe drooling at a female competitor, all I got to do is mention the bunny and you just exactly. I get the reaction from you that I need. I know being a color commentator is very much being a ventriloquist. It's knowing what string to pull to get the reaction out of the play-by-play man that I want to get.
And on that note, yay, Ali. That being said, I hope you have fun at Toy Heil. That being said, again, congratulations to Don West, Mike Today, and I think Matthew Wayward and Tom Hannigan are definitely holding it down quite well in this generation of Impact Wrestling. And Tracy Brooks, again, the OG, she manages one of the greatest of all time, of course, Robert Roode, among so many others. I'm very happy for her. Now I just need to see the likes of Tara into the Impact Wrestling Hall of Fame because damn it, she deserves it. And to your point, who really decides this? And again, was this just an audible? The fact that you got two inductees versus one, yeah, it very well could be. But I think next year will tell a bigger story. And if next year is not Mickey James, I will be absolutely shocked.
Well, it depends on what happens with Mickey, coming out of this, because as we've kind of talked about in private, and
Oh
I
yeah.
know we'll get in depth on the show here,
Yeah.
with Mickey in her match with Trinity and with her husband, Nick Aldis, now being the on-screen authority for Friday Night SmackDown. That's not a spoiler, people. That was announced last week. How much longer is she going to be around Impact Wrestling before she potentially goes back to WWE? And if she does make that jump back to WWE, then Impact Wrestling is probably going to have to hold off on a Hall of Fame induction until her time with WWE is over, be it a year, 2 year, 5 years, whatever kind of deal they sign her to.
Right.
So we kind of have to see how the pieces fall here in the next few months to determine whether or not come October 2024, we're talking about a Mickey James induction or not.
And so much more to come too. Talk about pivoting the future. Let's go ahead and get right into the present of what will define the future. And we'll go ahead and start off with some tag team action. We're going to see what sort of shenanigans the Rascals can try and pull out now. The ABC have their guaranteed title rematch ever since stealing the titles from the ABC with collusion from the good hands, and they got their just desserts from the fans. That was brilliant. The Impact World Tag Team Championships will be on the line as the Rascals, Toledo's own Trey Miguel represent, and Zachary Wentz take on the ABC, Inevitable Ace Austin, and of course the Art of Finesse himself, Chris Bay. They earned this opportunity after winning the Feast or Fire Tag Team Championship opportunity briefcase. Damn it. And of course, they are former Impact World Tag Team Champions after being the Motor City Machine Guns earlier this year in Vegas in February. A tremendous run for these two that have been a tag team since the better part of last year's summer, and have only had one tag team title run underneath their illustrious reign. Why Trey Miguel is a three-time X-Division champion, now putting his mark on the tag titles with the returning Zachary Wentz. And why I don't think the trio has fully been built yet. Again, Jared brought up various reports. I know that also was on your mind too. So I'll leave it to you. But before I do, I want to give a shout out to the impactful faithful that put in the predictions so far. I see 22 of you, including but not limited to the Renegade himself. God bless you. My friend, of course, Sienna Chanel, Chumbawamba, best name ever. Kimberly, Mark Anderson, Rocco, the Cleaver Colin Andrew, Walter, Alistair Keeper, Bacon _ space. Okay, that might be the best name ever. Shane Atkinson, and of course, many of you others. King Kieta, appreciate all of you. Good luck, of course, in this weekend's prediction game for Impact Wrestling Bound for Glory. It's one of those things, JJ, where I don't know. I'm just not sure anymore. I always thought Ace Austin was inevitably going to become Impact World Champion. People compare this guy to the phenomenal AJ Styles. And he's only like 25 years old. And AJ Styles was the first ever X-Division champion, which, of course, the title we'll talk about more later. So, again, does ABC need the tag titles? Or does the Rascals continue this run as tag champs? Does Trey Miguel need to try and go beyond the X Division championship and maybe pave his own way now through the tag team division? What's your thoughts on this tag title match?
Well, first of all, I got to say, God damn it, Jerry Slaughter, for bringing up my point. Like, you started talking about this match and I started typing my comment. And, because it's such a long-worded question, I'm at like 100-something characters in whatever I can post in YouTube. Yeah. And then he brings up my point. I was like, back arrow, delete.
That's hilarious.
The elephant in the room. Wes Lee was last seen on NXT programming on September 12th. NXT supposedly only has a 30-day non-compete clause, so that would have expired on October 12th.
Yeah.
If, in fact, his leaving NXT was because his contract expired, couldn't reach a deal, blah, 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 and it's not just some kind of bigger NXT storyline, could we see Wes Lee show up and help his rascal brethren retain the title? Very much in the same vein as one Joe Coffey did at Stand and Deliver earlier this year, rejoining the Gallus Boys.
Yep. The Iron King
You
rejoined his
know?
firm.
And so this is something that's been going through my mind here for a minute, even without watching Impact TV. And then I see this thing on Beyond the Impact or whatever, BTI, that everyone's talking about hotels booked, plane ticket is secured, somebody is coming tomorrow.
Right.
And we can address that elephant in the room if we want, but let's, while I think there's a possibility one Phil Brooks could potentially show up, he lives in Chicago. He doesn't
Yeah.
need a hotel, doesn't need an
Yeah.
airfare.
Yeah.
So
Just put it out there right now.
I'm just saying, like, dude could probably walk from his house to freaking the arena.
Cicero Stadium. Yep, that's where it's going to be. Impact Wrestling from Chicago,
So
Illinois, to Cicero Stadium. Sold out, by the way.
so it
Congratulations.
makes me wonder if this could be Wes Lee. Because let's be real, Wes Lee is all elite. He's gonna get held down. Look at how well they've booked Miro. Look at how well they've booked Andrade El Idolo. Look at what they've done with Keith Lee since him and Swerve split.
Yeah.
Do I need to keep going? Look at Ruby Soho.
Well, she'll be facing Sky Blue now on Rampage, and at this point, you just
Okay,
work for a spot and nothing else. And Collision has given some more opportunity, so give credit.
facing Sky Blue on Rampage. Good for her.
Yeah.
Finals of the first Owen, lost.
Lost.
Tony Storm, 2-time women's champion. Saraya, 1-time women's champion. Ruby Soho entered the Owen this year.
Made it to the
Eliminated
finals.
first. She did make it to the finals. Yeah, I couldn't remember where she got this year. Some reason I thought she got eliminated first round, but okay. Made it to the finals again.
Right.
They just keep holding her down.
It's one of those things like how much more does a talent need to do to grab the brass ring? But also, Joe Hendry instigated somebody from across the pond. And with the fact that they're going across the pond here pretty soon for Turning Point, I'm just saying there's a guy that does the ups and downs that could be on a plane too. Which would be hilarious.
So I think the Rascals are going to retain. And I think they're going to retain with assistance from Wes Lee.
And a can of green spray paint in someone's face. Yeah, I just think that Chris Bay and Ace Austin are better off going after singles pursuits and not necessarily the X Division Championship because they've both been there, done that. I think, again, Ace Austin, he can be an Impact World Champion. And I think for Chris Bay, he could probably do anything. The sky's the limit. But also the fact that Rich Swann also is once again solo. Can you handle that? Because Sammy Callahan's also a free agent. Maybe Chris Bay and Rich Swann can create something, even if it's just for a short term. We've seen how many times Impact Wrestling has redefined their tag team landscape. In a way, it's made sense, and it's also made champions. Ace Austin and Chris Bay didn't see that coming together as a tag team. It worked, and they became Impact World Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, but I don't know Ace Austin that well. I've seen his performances a few times, obviously, doing the watch-alongs with you.
Right.
I could see where you're coming from with him as a potential world champion, but that's the type of thing that you need to tell a story on. You need to build up. So I wouldn't even think about pulling that trigger until Slammiversary, earliest, Bound for Glory next year, possibly. Because you've got to lay the foundation. You've got to have the two of them separate, even if it's just, a mutual separation. Hey, we need to go pursue our own things right now.
Right.
And then you need to build the elevation of his gimmick to get to that point. It can't just be, he goes from Bound for Glory, challenging for the tag titles, to Turning Point, he's in a world title shot.
Oh no. There's one thing I know Impact
And I'm
doesn't
not
do.
saying that you would book it that way, but I'm just
No.
saying like we gotta lay the foundation here. We gotta story
Yes.
tell this.
And the next big pay per view, of course, for Impact Wrestling, keyword pay per view, not Impact Plus special, even though they feel like pay per views, is Hard to Kill. To your point, and of course, that will be in January. Date and location to be determined. So I get that. But the another thing about Impact Wrestling that I love so much, you can't really predict it. Every match on this card could really go one way or the other, practically. And to my point, this poll is 60 to 40. 40% believe ABC, while 60% believe in the Rascals. And I agree with you because right now, the Rascals have proved how innovative they are to keep the titles. Even without the Wes Lee dynamic, I think the Rascals are going to once again find a way to outsmart the ABC. Because, like Jerry says, all it takes is 3 seconds. And of course, championship advantage. Titles can only change hands via pinfall or submission. So I agree with you. I do think the Rascals are going to retain as well. Wesley, good to see you also in the chat. Appreciate your viewership. All right. Well, let's go ahead and keep moving forward down this card from Impact title to maybe Impact momentum to maybe Impact foreshadowing to maybe leaving an Impact with respect. Because one of the greatest professional wrestlers this year, bite me if you think otherwise, the Billy Goat, Will Ospreay, finally goes one-on-one against Speedball Mike Bailey. This match originally was supposed to happen during WrestleMania weekend at the Globe Theater, but due to unforeseen circumstances, we didn't get that. These two finally face each other one-on-one in an Impact Wrestling ring. Yes, I'm aware they faced each other before in Red Pro, but these two are not the same men. Speedball Mike Bailey, one of the most world-renowned former X Division champions, JJ. He held it, of course, until he lost to the Frigazarian 1 year ago at Bound for Glory. And, of course, Will Ospreay, what can you not say about this guy, especially the later half of this year? He has beaten Kazuchika Okada, Hiroshi Tanahashi. He has beaten freaking Chris Jericho, and he even beat Kenny Omega, and more recently, not only beat Yota Tsuji, he just beat Zack Sabre Jr., an absolute classic for the ages. And right now, you can call him probably the best in British wrestling, if not the best in the world. This is going to be a marquee match for reasons. It is going to put Speedball Mike Bailey stuck on the map, but it's also going to continue to raise the stock of Will Ospreay. And Will Ospreay also wrestled in Pro, as you know, against his hero, Marufuji. But again, there is no stopping Will Ospreay right now. This just further elevates him, but I also think it's going to elevate Speedball Mike Bailey, who right now I think his biggest goal is to try and get the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship from Hiromu Takahashi after falling short in that triple threat, has yet to face him one-on-one for the title at Destruction in Ryogoku. So, again, this is one of those matches that is truly exhibition. And Will Ospreay will be part of the Fallout and also part of Turning Point. In fact, he's going to face Eddie Edwards at Turning Point, which we'll cover here some point on the Multiverse Media, folks. They do for more on that. So what's your thoughts on this singles expedition of sorts? And at the end of the day, what is there more to gain for Speedball Mike Bailey versus Will Ospreay? Take it away.
See, this one is hard to call and predict because Will Ospreay is Will Ospreay. Let's just leave that where it lay.
Right.
And I did predict and pick Ospreay because he is Ospreay. But the more I started thinking about it afterwards, the more I'm like, but what does Impact or Ospreay gain by him winning? It has been a hell of a year for Speedball Mike Bailey.
Yes.
What does it do for him with the victory over Ospreay? If he wasn't already, he gets that rocket hitch to him Cameron Grimes style and starts going to the moon.
Like Cameron Grimes is stuck in catering.
Yeah, but let's leave that alone.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Sorry. But it's an interesting dichotomy in this match because I don't know. I have a hard time seeing Ospreay lose.
Now,
but I feel like Speedball needs the win more. And I heard your point earlier when you were talking with Jerry about, the fact that Turning Point is going to be in the UK.
Yes.
So they're going to run him back. He's going to be part of the Fallout tomorrow.
Yep.
But even if they just use him for the remainder of this year, with some of their pay-per-view cards, what are they going to end up needing to rebuild with Speedball if he loses to Osprey? And then Wesley's question is, Don Callis going to be there with him, since he is part of the Don Callis family?
Yep, that's the other thing I was just thinking about too.
So it's like, if Don Callis does show up, which
would
to
not
my
be
knowledge, he's still on good terms with Impact.
Yeah, as far as I know, I mean, again, he and Kenny Omega, I saw live, were literally ruling Impact Wrestling, holding the Impact World Championships back in 2021. He's a former executive.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, so to my knowledge, they're still on good terms. So if Don Callis is there, I think Osprey wins.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
If Don Callis isn't there,
then there's more suspension of disbelief. People might Billy catching Osprey off guard.
Yeah. And do they keep the story separate? Because Callis made sure to point out on Dynamite that there's only been one match that the family has lost in 4 months or whatever it was. And it was the match, where Kyle Fletcher subbed for Sammy Guevara.
Yep.
So if Callis isn't there, Osprey could lose, and it not affect the angle going forth in AEW.
It also
the family is still undefeated.
Yeah, but also it could give people like Bailey a different title opportunity. Let's not forget, Will Ospreay is the current IWGP United Kingdom heavyweight champion still. Successfully retaining against Will Ospreay at Royal Quest 3. And he said himself, until you beat me for this title, you cannot call yourself the best in the world because I hold that banner. And until someone beats him for that title, it's hard to argue otherwise with his track record.
And then the other thing to factor into this match is, what is AEW's relationship like currently with Impact? Because if Osprey beats Mike Bailey, is there a possibility that we'll see Bailey pop up on a Dynamite or a Rampage or something to try and get revenge?
Oh, the matches. I like this idea, though. The matches.
Is it possible we'll see Takeshita or Hobbs or somebody coming with Osprey to be an enforcer?
Or someone else from the United Empire, considering Will Ospreay is the leader of the United Empire, and he's got a lot of heavies, including not limited to Hinare, and of course Jeff Cobb. Just saying, and Gretel Khan. Oh hell. So again, the match itself leads to a lot of speculation of a domino effect. But here's one thing I do know for sure regarding Will Ospreay, besides Turning Point. He, of course, is still working in NJPW, and we already talked about his contract will be up post Wrestle Kingdom next year, and we do not know what's ahead for Will Ospreay at Wrestle Kingdom either. Clearly, something huge has to be planned. Could this be a way to put Impact into Wrestle Kingdom? Like you said, if Speedball Mike Bailey beats Will Ospreay, what if they leave this looming and you set up this title match for Speedball Mike Bailey at Wrestle Kingdom? Or, again, I think they are more going to lead towards Speedball Mike Bailey versus Hiromu Takahashi because he's been demanding that one-on-one. I think, either way, I think Impact Wrestling is going to be involved at Wrestle Kingdom next year because of how much NJPW has been in with Impact this year. I mean, we're getting freaking Kenta for Pete's sake, which is also crazy in itself. And again, Will Ospreay is already going to defend his IWGP United Kingdom Heavyweight Championship against Roughneck, Death Rider, Shota Umino at Power Struggle, literally within a few weeks. It's the first major show for NJPW coming up next month during their Super Junior Tag League that starts literally tomorrow morning. So Will Ospreay already has a bit of an agenda ahead for him. We do not know what's next for Speedball, but Speedball creates his own agenda. Next to Masha, Speedball and Masha are the most progressively working booked wrestlers in the industry, period. It's a matter of who outworks the other. So either way, it's one of those things where I want Speedball to win, but it's super freaking hard to bet against Will Ospreay, no matter what.
Exactly.
And apparently, a lot of people here have a similar sentiment. 91% Will Ospreay, but to your point, it's not unanimous. Like I said, also, a couple people did go with Speedball Mike Bailey. And again, all it takes is 3 seconds. Period. Either way, good luck to whoever act has to follow this. That's all I got to say about that. All right. Let's go back down to Impact Wrestling and talk about again but I will give credit due. Your NXT is definitely giving its money's worth in talent, but still the leader, then now and forever, are the Knockouts. Damn it, but I digress. Prove me otherwise with these 4. As the Knockouts World Tag Team Championships are on the line as MK Ultra, Killer Kelly, and Masha Slamovich defend these titles against the Weekla Badass Tasha Steelz and Diana Perazzo. To basically sum it up like this, you have a team that was brought together, bound by circumstance and a dog collar. And boy, does the mood change when these two are on the scene. And Tasha Steelz, Diana Perazzo, mutual respect for one another. Both former Knockouts World Champions, and something tells me that is still in their, let's just say, vision. But Diana Perazzo, VX Team Represent, shout out to Chelsea Green, who of course is still Women's Tag Champion WWE for whatever that's worth. Of course, VXT are former Knockouts World Tag Team Champions, and Tasha Steelz, the Flavor of Fire and Flavor, also former Knockouts Tag Team Champions. This is Masha Slamovich and Killer Kelly's first title, though, in their run since being part of Impact Wrestling, and I freaking love it. It's one of those things right now. What do I always say about tag team matches? The parts of the sum versus the sum of the parts. MK Ultra is and has been a united, unstoppable, violent front. But Tasha Steelz, Diana Perazzo, they can be very cunning, very witty. They know how to take advantage of opportunity. And where credit's due. Masha Slamovich has lost to Diana Perazzo. I don't think Diana Perazzo has messed around with Killer Kelly yet, and I want that singles match on my screen, even though I know it happened at a house show in Chicago. Damn it, I wish it was there. That being said, I'm not betting against MK Ultra. They are the standard right now of Knockouts Tag Team Wrestling, unless you bring back the inspiration for me. It's one of those things where right now, I just don't see their fun little playtime experiments. Shout out to Killer Kelly making a Jigsaw reference, by the way. Live or die. Yeah, she's a horror fan, by the way, JJ. She's right up your alley.
What do you know about Jigsaw, bro? You don't watch movies. You only watch wrestling.
I may only watch wrestling, but
and don't give me the whole once when I was a wee lad.
All I know is if I'm going to commentate stuff, I know you got to have some sort of level of pop culture knowledge. And for the 15,000 daggum time I've seen a damn commercial for a movie called Saw, I know it comes around a stupid psychopath with a weird mask named Jigsaw that puts people in games of death. And why I don't want to see Diana Perazzo literally gamed over when the clock runs out, I don't really care about Tasha Steelz. That being said, I've always was more into the fire, just saying. That being said, I don't bet against Killer Kelly. She's one of my all-time favorites, too. Former Ring Comp WXW Women's Champion, by the way, trained under Walter. And Masha Slamovich, she is the perfect style of striker grappler, while, of course, Killer Kelly has that MMA mixed grappling background as well. I think, for me, it doesn't seem like an obvious result, but it should be. I just don't see MK Ultra losing right now. I don't. It's one of those things where, again, talk about 2024, changing the landscape. What's the number one thing that's going to shape the landscape of the industry? Contracts. And contracts are up for renewal, including one virtuosa, Diana Perazzo, who is a 3-time Knockouts World Champion, whose rival finally beat her in their 5th ever singles encounter, one Jordan Grace that will be in the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. And Diana Perazzo has done absolutely everything, has been the standard bearer of the Knockouts division since Summerversary 2020. The sky's the limit for her in this industry, being former AAA, former Ring of Honor Women's World Champion, of course, Knockouts World Champion, Homecoming Queen, Wrestler of the Year, Knockout of the Year. She's done everything. She has all the tools to lead this freaking division beyond what Gail Kim established, and Gail Kim's fucking booking it. But that being said, despite not knowing what her future is going to be, I do think the future tomorrow night is MK Ultra retaining. That being said, JJ, who you got retaining, and what do you think's next, particularly for maybe, I think the biggest elephant in the room, the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo, where you saw her video, there's still one unfinished story for the virtuosa to finally put a final chapter in.
Well, I agree with you. MK Ultra is going to retain, and a lot of it comes down to the future of the virtuosa. Everybody dreams of main eventing at WrestleMania. And I think her contract's going to expire. I think she's going to debut in the Women's Royal Rumble next year. And I think the virtuosa is going to be under the same umbrella as the Queen, the Man, that bitch, the EST, and we're going to have some insane future matchups for one Deonna Purrazzo.
Better fucking book her right, is all I gotta say. Well, I've seen what's happened on Raw lately. Don't get me started.
Look at what they've
cluster.
done to build up Jade. If they're willing to invest that into someone who fans say is greener than baby shit, what do you think they can do with the virtuosa?
I think they could do a lot, but will they is the ultimate question, considering she was formerly involved in NXT.
But where was she in her career at that point?
Still,
had she hit final evolution of her Pokemon where she had become the virtuosa?
The virtuosa is never fully the virtuosa. That's part of the challenge Deonna Purrazzo puts on herself. But she's come extremely far since Summerverse 2020 when she arrived and has continued to thrive in Impact Wrestling, which is why I honestly want her to stay underneath the Impact banner. She is the Knockouts division. Long may she reign. It's not about the title when she says that. It is about her. It is the virtuosa. It is more than just a nickname.
But to your point, being that she is the Impact Knockouts division, how many other women will get the true opportunity to shine if she vacates that spot?
Fair. Maybe that's why she's in this tag title match in the first place, to give somebody else a chance. People could call their shot.
What if she does what we always complained that Hulk Hogan never did, and actually goes to another company, puts that spot up for grabs? Is Masha Slamovich going to grab it? Is Killer Kelly going to grab it? Is Jordan Grace going to grab it? Is Trinity going to grab it?
Keep going.
I'm naming the ones that I know off the top of my head.
Let me help you. Jody Frett, Kylan King, Deshelle Shaw, and I got a lot to say about that particular woman. Continue.
So point being, are any of those women gonna be the ones to grab that spotlight that was being just taken, some may say even hogged, by Deonna Purrazzo?
Well, I also say this: if you want that spotlight, then outwork the virtuosa. Trinity did that to her degree. She submitted the virtuosa twice, and I still can't believe I said that, quite literally. But yeah, at the end of the day, MK Ultra is the Knockouts tag team dynamic. You need to really bring something forward if you're going to beat. And I want this dynamic to continue. The energy, the communication, and just the overall combat of these two together. It's a perfect match in violence. And how fitting, considering it was literally brought out of a dog collar match. Jesus. So, yeah, it's hard to bet against MK Ultra for me, despite the fact you're facing two former knockout world champions a feat that Masha Slammers and Killer Kelly have yet to acquire, and Masha has had 3 attempts at it. 1 against Mickey James, 2 against Jordan Grace. Fell short. In fact, it was Jordan Grace that handed Masha her first loss in Impact Wrestling. But it was Gloria Purrazzo that first met Masha Slamovitz back at Knockouts Throwdown. So it's one of those things where, again, I don't know what the future holds, but I do think MK Ultra is going to retain it. We're just looking at this match on paper. And just put more Killer Kelly on my screen, please. Thank you. Again, a brilliant character. Don't have to say a word. Smile and do your thing in the ring. That's all you got to do. Looks like a lot of people are also a bit torn on this. 60-40 again, but the majority are going with the champs retaining. And again, folks, you want to get into the conversation when it comes to maybe contract thought that we didn't even think about regarding people beyond the match. Super Chat, Kansas City Studios. It's super simple. Get the phone. Beep, 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 beep. Done. Super Chat's as simple as that. Support my friend, if you will. Keep monetized. I do this for the love of wrestling, but also to help a guy at the end of the day, too. So let's all do our fair share as well. And that's how we keep this thing going. And I think MK Ultra is going to keep their reign going at the top of the Knockouts Tag Division. Tasha Steelz, game over. Don't hurt the Virtuosa. All right, let's go ahead and talk about 4 people that are going to hurt the hell out of each other. And hey, JJ, you've seen PWG. You've seen ECW. I've seen death matches. I've seen Monsters Ball. We don't have the sinister manager, Father J. Mitchell here, but I might as well say click Doomsday, despite the fact we don't have the monster, Joseph Parks, or excuse me, Abyss. Same person, by the way, if you're going to get on my case about Courtney Rush and Rosemary, but I digress. Let's have some fun with this, shall we? What a fitting segue. Fatal 4-way Monsters Ball match, which people don't know, it's anything goes. And these 4 men will be locked away in a dark room without food, water, or sunlight. So how far does a man's mind go away when they are deprived of everything and have to go out into the field of combat? Considering one of these men is actually formerly involved in the military, probably won't affect them as much. PCO, yes, you heard me, Ryan 2023. PCO, Rhino, Steve Macklin, and Moose, who, by the way, has a contract guaranteed for an Impact World Championship match anytime he wants, up to a year. Fatal 4-way match for Monsters Ball. Do I need to say anything else, JJ? You can talk about Monsters Ball past history. You can talk about these 4 men, their track record of insane violence and tomfoolery. What the hell is about to happen here? And who you got on this 4-way dance?
Believe it or not, and I might be the only one in the league,
Oh boy, this should be good.
I picked PCO.
What?
I absolutely did. He is Impact's Frankenstein monster, and we will be, come tomorrow when the show happens, 10 days from Halloween, in a Monsters Ball match.
This isn't the Addams family with friggin' Lurch from what?
The fact that we are still talking about Pierre Carl Ouellet in 2023.
Lord.
And the fact that he only debuted in Impact at Hard to Kill last year on Friday the 13th.
Oh, damn it. You're right.
Makes me wonder how long of a deal he has. Did they only sign him for a year? Kind of like a trial run, see what happens with him, see how things go, see if he is injury prone, see if he gets over at his age. He's exceeded every expectation.
And cheated death how many times now?
I feel like anybody else would be way too predictable to win. And especially with Moose having his briefcase, could he cash in tonight after the match? You know, straight up Money in the Bank style. He's done it once.
Yeah, remember he called his shot the same night.
Mm-hmm.
And became
he's done it once.
Yeah, but now he's got.
So what's to say that he can't do it again?
All right.
I went with PCO, like I said.
Wow.
And for the reasons I said. Debuted on Friday the 13th, 10 days before Halloween. Very well could be the end of his contract. I think I think PCO gets the victory here.
Okay, so let's go ahead and break down these men's history of cheating death, extremely tormenting their own bodies, and going through Monsters Ball then, shall we? PCO has literally been drinking battery acid, has been lit on fire, had his face slammed through cinder blocks, been powerbombed off a stage, powerbombed through a table, was run over by a van, and left out in the middle of the desert of Las Vegas, and still lives. You cannot kill him, won't die. That's PCO. Steve Macklin, he's a guy
he has taken all that and is still coming at his age.
I don't
You
get it.
don't think that he can't survive this?
It's not about surviving Monsters Ball. It's about finding your moment. And the damn man's going to do a de-animator off the damn stage and break his back. And then all of a sudden short circuit his way back to life. You cannot kill him, won't die, but you can at least incapacitate him. We've seen him drop at least 3 seconds. All right. Let's see. Steve Macklin. What can you not say about this guy? Tag him back every target possible. He has survived war, literally. He also survived barbed wire massacre against the likes of Sami Callihan and Moose last year at Victory Road. So he's no stranger to enduring this type of torture and punishment. Beat Rich Swann in a Falls Count Anywhere in Atlanta match earlier this year, former Impact World Champion. And if it wasn't for the other participant in this match, Rhino, he would be holding that briefcase for a world title match because Steve Macklin was the one that injured Rhino in the first place, which is why Rhino has had this personal vendetta to gore Macklin every week he can get. And that's Rhino. For those that don't know, this is the same Rhino that ran Roughshod in ECW. So this man is the definition of extreme. Who's the man? But that being said, not much more to say about Rhino besides that. It's gore Steve Macklin every week. That's Rhino's agenda. And Moose, he is truly what he says he is, a five-tool athlete. But like I said, he has a guaranteed Impact World Championship opportunity anytime, anywhere against anyone he wants up to 1 year, courtesy of Beast or Fire. But he also has been involved in Monsters Ball before, in a losing effort. It was literally a couple of years ago, I think, or last year at Summerversary, he faced Sami Callihan. And while he didn't win, he made his own moments, and people were talking more about him after that match. JJ, you, Jeff, me, James, we all were watching it firsthand and witnessed the hell Moose and Sami put themselves through. Moose is a guy that always talks about he wants to show you what pain really feels like. And again, he is a former Impact World Champion, and he's one of those guys that many would call Mr. Impact Wrestling. In fact, he literally has committed himself to this company. He wants to work here till he retires. Mad respect. With that sort of commitment out of your talent, that's got to put you in a better spot going forward because that shows you're dependable. But at Monsters Ball, the only thing you got to do is be indestructible. You just got to find a moment. I kind of went a little bit off. I didn't pick PCO. I wasn't that crazy. But Steve Macklin has overcome warfare, quite literally, before. And Steve Macklin has a point to prove with the fact he no longer has that briefcase and wants his Impact World Championship back too. And probably his loss against Josh Alexander. I went with Steve Macklin. I think Steve Macklin's going to pick his spot, overcome the odds, tag him back a target, put him in his crosshairs, and get the win. KIA and a rival. Let's not forget, this is the same man that beat Switchblade Jay White and Chris Sabin in a triple threat. This is the guy that knows how to pick advantage in a multi-person field and find a moment. And in Monsters Ball, that's all you need. Monsters Ball is truly about 3 seconds. It's as simple as that because other than your imagination, anything goes and anything's possible. So I went with Steve Macklin. But the fact of the matter is that you could pick any of these four men to be declared the victor of this Monster Mash, Monsters Ball, but Monsters Mash are going to be in Halloween. It's still astonishing to me. Just saying.
I gotta know, did anybody else pick PCO?
Well, let's see what Wesley's got to say here. PCO wins. Moose cashes in after Josh Alexander wins the Impact World Championship. Is that a spoiler or is that just a prediction? So there's one person. And to your point, what the hell? Wow. That's almost a fatal four-way split. The least picked applicant was Moose. 3 people picked Moose. 7 picked Steve Macklin. 5 picked Rhino. And 7 picked PCO. It's all over the board, but you are not alone.
That's crazy. I thought I might have been alone here, and it might have been what I needed to, try to gain some ground in this board.
Well, again, Impact Wrestling, anything but predictable. And people who watch Impact, to your point, I literally just went over the resume of how PCO has cheated death. The man's got more lives than a cat, it seems. You cannot kill what won't die! But I'm sure they're going to try to. But yeah, so you went with PCO. I went with Steve Macklin. And everyone's going for everybody across the board. This is literally a who's who. There's no clear pick.
Nice.
I love it. I love calling madness sometimes. All right. Well, that was fun to talk about. All right. Well, let's go ahead and go from utter madness to what could be a sleeper classic because at the end of the day, he's Kenta, bitch, and he's going to do what he wants to do. Kenta is going after the X Division Championship against the 10-time, I still can't believe he's done that, 10-time X Division champion, Hail Sabin, Chris Sabin. This is a first-time ever one-on-one matchup, and Chris Sabin, of course, won this title back against Leo Rush at Impact 1000. Now, again, he's a 10-time champion. The man owes the X Division nothing. Kenta is not signed with Impact, and Kenta's future right now, what he's going to do, it's up to Kenta. He does whatever the hell he wants. It's completely unknown. I don't even know if he's still a Defy Wrestling champion. That tells you anything. That being said, it's one of those things where I also got to consider one other thing. Option C. We are coming up to that time where someone could use Option C and cash in the X Division Championship for a future Impact World Championship opportunity. Your boy, Frank Kazarian, did that last year, the following night after Bound for Glory, after beating Speedball Mike Bailey for the title. I know people are going to say Kenta is an outsider, but this is Impact Wrestling. We have seen their titles flex across other companies. Just saying. It's one of those things where I don't want to rule Kenta out because Kenta could literally take advantage of this and could surprise us. But after what happened at Slammiversary when we thought it was going to be literally the guns running out of ammo, where Chris Sabin lost the X Division title and Alex Shelley became Nick Aldis, will it be a similar dynamic here where one loses, one wins, both lose, both win? We don't know. But I do think it's odd that Kenta is back in Impact Wrestling for this, unless he wants to call his shot, cash in Option C, go after the Impact World Championship against a former person he challenged for it if he wins, Josh Alexander. Other side of the coin, what about gun versus gun, the ever-going battle? Who's the better gun? Chris Sabin was Impact World Champion for a cup of coffee. Alex Shelley is the current Impact World Champion. And we have yet to see Alex Shelley versus Chris Sabin for the title in either capacity. We have seen the two go one-on-one countless times. In fact, the last one-on-one bout, it was Alex Shelley that won. JJ, with the future of the Impact World Championship pretty much up for grabs possibly with one of these two in the picture, what's your thoughts on this X Division Championship match?
Well, I think it's going to be a fantastic match. I'm looking forward to it. Although I must say, the last time I got excited to see Kenta, it was that show back in May at the
NJ Resurgence, Kenta versus
yeah.
Kaleo. Yeah.
And I was very disappointed in what I saw.
But continue.
Get my hopes up too high, but at the same time, it could have been the person he was facing and why he did what he did. Chris Sabin is an amazing athlete. We have no need to run down his accolades because we'll be here another 3 hours.
Right, golly.
But I kind of like what Wesley says here. Both masters of the GTS.
If he does the GTS, he needs to say CM Punk, and that's boom. That's all you need right there. Anyway, continue.
You know, what if Kenta comes out and during his entrance says it's clobbering time? You know, I mean, that's interesting to think about. And then it could set up Punk versus Kenta, which is something people have been wanting to see for a minute.
Ever since the GTS was even talked about, it's become a freaking thing. Because both men use it.
I definitely think Saban is going to retain, but the Punk dynamic potentially could be interesting.
That's a whole nother curveball I didn't even think about. I was just thinking about people that exist in history. And also, again, Chris Sabin has one defense already. So, hey, this run's already gone longer than his previous one. How about that? He beat Allen Angels on TV after Allen Angels immediately cashed in his Ultimate X opportunity. You fool. But, yeah, and again, Kenta, he does what he wants. I mean, how long did he held the freaking IWGP United States contract briefcase till he finally faced John Moxley? Still losing effort. And he could literally use this to his advantage. It's literally a key to Impact Wrestling, a key to the Impact World Championship. What if, and this just be really wild circumstances, what if Kenta was to win? All right, hold on to the exhibition title. Challenge Hiromu, this is more important than your title. And somehow he cashes in option C to challenge for the Impact World Championship at Wrestle Kingdom. Just saying. We've seen the Ring of Honor World Championship defended at Wrestle Kingdom against Adam Cole, and Kyle O'Reilly. Go back and watch that show, folks. And again, I think Impact Wrestling is going to be a heavy player in Wrestle Kingdom next year. I really do. But right now, I'm looking at Chris Sabin. I'm looking at Alex Shelley. They are the faces of Impact Wrestling, in my opinion. Title or no title. And I do think another one-on-one is pending. But I think this one-on-one needs to have the championship involved. I just don't know when and how. And again, when we get to the other match, I think you know exactly why I'm saying that. But for now, I think I am going to say that Chris Sabin does outlast Kenta. Because at the end of the day, 3 seconds. How pinnacle is 3 seconds going to be for almost every match here on this card tomorrow night? That's how serious this wrestling pay-per-view is. And that's how polarizing it is, too.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see Sabin and Shelley title for title.
Oh, good Lord.
I'd like to see them in a WrestleMania 6 situation.
I mean, it would be historic.
Instead of cashing in option C, may the best man win.
May the true face of Impact Wrestling, may the best Impact Wrestling talent of all time win. Potentially with these two 20-plus year vets. Just saying. Well, a majority are going with Chris Sabin, but there are 3 people that did pick Kenta. So, again, it is not unanimous. So there is that thought. And, again, I think CM Punk was probably at some of those 3 people's thoughts, if we're being perfectly honest. All right, well, I gotta say, we have not had a straight-up, one-way, evenly dynamic conversation, even though we've picked the same predictions for most of these matches. Well, in your immortal words, time to get butt fucky. It's the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. 20 random talents from Impact Wrestling, and I'm pretty sure there will be some nostalgia acts. We'll all be competing for a chance to get an opportunity to challenge for any Impact Championship any time they want against anybody, anywhere, up to 1 year. It's once again the Call Your Shot Gauntlet, and thanks to Wrestling Comments on the Twix, he already gave us a list of confirmed participants based on what Impact Wrestling's already told us. So here you go, folks. So far, we have Brian Myers, most professional wrestler, former digital media champion, Eric Young, former Impact. Well, who am I kidding? He's held every title in this damn company, including the Knockouts World Tag Team Championships. Ugh, damn it. Dirty Dango, y'all might know him as Fandango. Guess what, JJ? He's number 20. That's the last spot on this gauntlet. Damn it. Bully Ray, who won the gauntlet last year after coming on the scene and surprising the hell out of everybody. Of course, lost to Josh Alexander at Hard to Kill this year for the title. Jake Something, what's his name? Something. He's going to have to prove something as he has to go through everybody. He's coming in at number 1. Jordan Graves, the Juggernaut. She's made history, of course, being the first ever digital media champion. She's a multiple-time Knockouts World Champion. Wants that title back, quite clearly. But could you be the one to try and up what one undeniable diamond once did? Just saying. Joe Hendry, I believe. Damn it. He's, of course, the former digital media champion that held up for 200-plus days, and I wanted to see him go on to bigger things. But I already know he's got an enemy in Simon Miller. If Simon Miller shows up tomorrow, I'm going to mark out. Frigazarian, I mean, you can talk about your boy Frigazarian all night, but the bottom line, JJ, your boy has yet to win the big one. And after coming off that feud with Eddie Edwards, he deserves a chance at the big one. He called a shot last year with the X Division title. Well, maybe now he can have an even better chance with this. Kylan King, the Mud Up and King, trained out of the Dudley Academy. She is a former Knockouts Tag Team champion, but attached her partner, Taylor Wilde, who is on the injury reserve shelf. And she now looks to own the Knockouts division on her own. Long live the king. Kenny King, wasted potential. Former digital media champion, former X Division champion. He's a guy, though, that might show his hand, and with Sheldon G in the corner, could take advantage. Jody Fret looks to be a threat. Recently came on to the Impact Wrestling team. Out now, she's already challenged against Trinity, Mickey James, and many others. I can see her being a force to be reckoned with here. I'll say it once, I'll say it again. Michelle Shaw is an uncrowned Knockouts World Champion. Multiple main events for the title, multiple main events with the other Knockout World Champions, including just last night against Trinity and Mickey James. This might be the way she finally calls her shot and puts herself in that spotlight with the grandest prize. Eddie Edwards, previous winner, Call Your Shot Gauntlet, previous challenger for the Impact World Championship, former Impact World Champion and former Impact Tag Team Champion. And now the field Frankenstein's over. Maybe this is the way he gets back to glory. That is 13 of what's supposed to be 20 names in what is an over-the-top rope battle royale, where one person will get a chance to call their shot for anything in Impact up to 1 year. Now, as per usual prediction standards when it comes to fields beyond 8, what do? We pick 2. So, JJ, let your mind wander about the people you know, the people you think that are still on the roster, like Johnny Swinger, that might still be in this thing, and who do you see possibly getting a chance to call their shot for anything up to 1 year, male or female? Good luck, brother.
Well, my number 1 draft pick was Eric Young. I felt like with his return at Slammiversary that this would be a good way to kind of build some momentum for him. He's just kind of been there since his return. And forgive me if Slammiversary was not the right event. Don't call botch because you know me, I don't follow.
You're good. And actually, you are correct because that's when Team Canada beat Diener and Bully Ray.
Okay, so I thought it was, but I wasn't positive. But yeah, I haven't seen him do a whole lot since coming back. So winning this would be a good way to get something going behind his character. My second pick, believe it or not, was the man that you want me to believe in. I picked Joe Hendry.
Really?
I did. Huh. Because something in my head was saying they'll find a loophole to use it for a tag shot and Joya will be back together.
Oh my God.
I know he got fired, but by being able to challenge for any title he wants, you got to figure he can pick his partner in stipulation.
That's absolutely right.
So it would be a great way to bring Uya back and you got to give the people what they want.
Joya. I like that. I like that a lot. Now, that just comes down to, again, how much.
But.
Yeah.
But.
What?
If CM Punk comes out, all bets are off.
Yeah. Damn it. You had to say the name. Damn it.
I did, because there are 7 unannounced spots. And the show is in Chicago.
I know.
If there was a better time to debut him in the company, this would be it. And you can't have him be number 20. No. They can't freaking WWE it.
No.
But they could AJ Styles it and have him be number 3. First 2 are in the ring. They're fighting. Next person comes out. And that'll
be the loudest the Impact Zone has ever been in its freaking life. Sold out, by the way. Congratulations.
And I know it's not a popular thought. I know a lot of people may be like, well, you're crazy. There's no way Impact can afford him. Like I mentioned in my comment to you on your live stream earlier,
Mm-hmm.
CM Punk is financially set. He doesn't have to work another day in his fucking life if he doesn't want to.
Exactly.
Between his WWE run, his UFC career, as short as it was,
We don't talk about that.
between his acting gigs that he's had, between his comic writing gigs that he's had, between his AEW run. CM Punk, Phillip Brooks
Yes, let's talk about
does
the
not
man.
have to work another day in his fucking life if he doesn't want to.
Mm-hmm.
And what is your peace of mind and creative freedom worth to you? Now these numbers are hypothetical because I don't see WWE contracts. I don't see AEW contracts. I don't see Impact contracts.
I see none of that.
But let me ask you this, Noah, from a hypothetical figure standpoint.
Okay.
Let's say you are Phil Brooks, you are CM Punk,
Okay.
and WWE comes to you with a $1 million contract
Okay.
for a whole year. Okay? You know what that means as far as travel. You know what that means as far as dates. But you're in the WWE machine. You do what they want you to do when they tell you to do it.
Yes.
Let's say that Impact comes at you and offers you $250,000 for a year. But you get more control over your character, you get more control over your storylines, and you don't have to travel as much because they do tapings, what, like 2 or 3 at a shot?
That is correct.
So you have to travel maybe 3 times a month. Let's just hypothetically say they film 2 shows at a time. So you've
Mhm.
got to travel 3 times a month, twice, so that you can film the 4 TV shows a month and once for the pay-per-view, Impact Wrestling special, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Which deal are you going to take?
I'm going to take Impact, clearly, because at the end of the day, what's the one thing I always say at the end of my thing? Protect your mentality.
mentality.
Jeff Cobb literally says, yeah, I can make more money, but I also like to be happy. He's turned down WWE because of that mentality.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those, it's also one of those things where you also point out he is an alumni, as Wesley just said. Gathering reunion. Let's not forget this guy was under the same umbrella as Mickey James was, under Raven. So it's one of those things where I can't rule it out, but it just would be so crazy to see the fact that this man could challenge for the Impact World Championship anytime up to the next year.
And even if it's just a one-shot appearance.
Yeah.
Even if they just get him for this event because they're in Chicago, because WWE Survivor Series is in Chicago next month.
Right?
For all we know, he's already signed his return deal. D'Amore, I appreciate your offer. I have to go back to WWE on this date.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't sign nothing long term. You want me for Bound for Glory? This is what we'll do.
Yeah. It
They can still work out an appearance fee. Plus, it gets water cooler talk going for Impact. And most importantly, it gives Phil a live mic to get everything exercised out of his body
once for all
before he goes back to WWE the following month, where that shit won't fly.
Once and for all, the man will be free of his past and will cleanse his mentality, even in the wrestling industry. God forbid. It again, that would be the moment of the year if that happens. If CM Punk The guy that was formerly involved in WWE, in ECW, in Ring of Honor, was in AEW. The only place he hasn't touched since pretty much becoming the cult of personality is Impact Wrestling. If that happens, that's it. I'm done guessing on the industry. I'm done. And that means that CM Punk should finally be removed from whatever has been the sickness within him for the longest time. Because AEW tried to cleanse him, and then they just added more on top of what you thought was gone, but still was stewing in. Again, is he his own worst enemy, chasing the dragon until he finally chased it far enough? I don't know. But I think Phil Brooks does want one more live mic, and Impact's the final spot for that. So again, we'll have to wait and see. But I also love your idea about Joe Hendry. The only thing is, again, the Super Junior title is going on right now. The World Tag League follows that. That goes through like December and blah, 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 blah. Right now, Uya Yamura is back in New Japan Pro Wrestling as part of just 5 guys. So he's not really doing a whole lot with the Super Junior Tag League being the forefront of the company, but he is back in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So to see Joe Hendry and Uya Yamura in New Japan Pro Wrestling, yes, please. That sounds like a lot of fun.
I mean, is there any way they could parlay this into a Wrestle Kingdom match?
I'll say it once, I'll say it again. The only match known for 2024 and the only match made official for Wrestle Kingdom is freaking what's the word? Sonata defending IWGP Heavyweight Championship against Tetsuya Naito, where Destino will finally be either, I guess, claim or basically out of reach once and for all. But I am going to right now focus on the actual roster because, again, there's a lot of intermingling potential storylines. The Collier Shot Gauntlet is literally the chance for an Impact star to rise to the top, whether knockout or world. So, particularly because of how much thought they put in since he came back at Slammiversary, which was already something itself, one of my picks, my secondary, I picked Jake Something. Jake Something has been the guy that has been a lot of proving ground matches. He's hung with the likes of Josh Alexander for the X Division title. He's hung with world champions, including Sonata. I think Jake Something is due to win something big. And I think the Collier Shot Gauntlet is the best testament for that, especially if you consider the fact he is number one. He has to run the entire field, including the man he's been feuding with lately, Dirty Dango, who has Vladimir Kozlov now in his pocket. I still can't believe that's a thing in 2023. What the fuck is wrestling anymore? As far as the second, CM Punk is such a wild card, but it doesn't seem like a wild card because we're in Chicago. And I almost want to say that, but based on that list and thinking about again, who could use the Collier Shot to finally obtain something they never obtained, I picked Deshelle Shaw. I think Deshelle Shaw has a chance to finally become the Knockouts World Champion, and the Collier Shot Gauntlet could be the way towards that. To Wesley's point, Davey Richards, I don't know what the future is right now of him in that MLW. Of course, the Wolves formerly are freaking Impact World Tag Team Champions. They beat Brian Myers and Trevor Lee for the titles and retained the Battle for Glory a few years ago. We saw the return of Davey Richards in the whole Honor No More versus TNA Impact Originals at Slammiversary just last year when they were celebrating their 20th year. So, again, that's not out of the realm of possibility either. I think
is Davey still wrestling?
I don't know.
Because last I remembered hearing there was an incident that went down with him and his wife during training, and there was domestic violence charges. He was starting to be canceled, so he canceled himself.
Yeah.
This was something we discussed on open mic night. I don't remember how far back.
Yeah, it was a while back.
So I don't know if anything ever happened, if charges were dropped since the injury happened in training.
Right.
You know, so it wasn't like he was straight up beating her. It was just an accident that happened during training. But I'm not sure if he's even wrestling or if he ended up canceling himself, which is why I didn't address the Davey Richards thing, because if he's canceled himself, Impact ain't going to pay him to be there. No. They're not going to run a risk of that.
No, and I don't think Impact's willing to do that either. But again, it is one of those things where I do say, and I feel like this year has proved it more than ever. Never say never. But my picks officially, I'm going with Jake Something and Michelle Shaw. People went all over the board with this. You got Moosh, who's not in this, by the way. You need to change that person. We got Eric Young, Jake Something, Mark Andrews, Jonathan Gresham. Jonathan Gresham, by the way, not on that list. Tommy Dreamer, of course, the current digital media champion, who I think is still trying to pull the fork out of his bag. Crazy Steve is a crazy son of a bitch. Johnny Swinger. Who the hell put Johnny Swinger down? I was joking.
Johnny Swinger is awesome. You leave Johnny Swinger alone.
I'm just saying, Johnny Swinger had a chance at the Digital Media Championship. All right? This guy is not going to win the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. This guy is not going to win a
Why
title,
not?
a serious title. It's not going to happen.
Why not?
Because every other obstacle besides himself is going to prevent it. This guy
You know
too much
what?
of a goof.
You know what, Noah?
What?
They said the same thing about Mick Foley.
Damn, I hate when you're right. Johnny Swinger. I will lose my. I will freaking flip my lid if Johnny Swinger wins this thing. I'm just gonna tell you that right now.
Ooh, King Mike
aye.
with the nice shout there. What about Mustafa Ali?
Oh, that's right. He's out of Chicago. He's literally was a Chicago policeman. That was a great. I didn't even think about that. That's a good one, King Mike. Again, he literally is based out of the Chicago area, and we talk about NXT. He's been gone longer since Wesley, if we're being perfectly honest. So yeah. Well, man,
No, I think about the same amount of time, give or take, because the releases, I think, were just around the end of September. So it may not have even been 30 days. Plus, Mustafa Ali was technically a main roster guy who was down in NXT, so might be a 90-day, but still, like, it could be an interesting thing. I mean, they could always loophole it by having him in a mask and not do the reveal of the mask until the 90 days is up.
Yeah, that's true.
Have him be like a suicide or something, or a manic.
How many different suicides have there been in TNA?
Exactly.
Oh God. TJP comes back as manic. TJP comes back as manic, former X Division champion. Someone said
have him come out as manic, then have TJP come out as TJP, and everyone's like, exactly, pulling the Spider-Man meme.
The Spider-Man meme comes to life. Someone said Kushida, Flash Morgan Webster. So, I mean, it is all over the place. But yeah, I didn't even think about Mustafa Ali. That's a fair shout. I would say Sky Blue because she's also in Chicago, but she's in AEW. Right now, there's a storyline developing where darkness is concealing her from within. And I'm very curious to see if that comes forward at Battle of the Belts. So,
hey, with whatever Julia Hart is doing with these females, it's already more interesting than the fucking Dark Order. I'm just saying.
I mean, that's a low bar, but to be fair, you're not wrong. And I can't wait to see this Dark Trinity come forward as Julia Hart celebrates her latest her engagement. Congratulations to Big Shy Lee and her.
But raise my glass to you, King Mike. That was a fair shout out there with the Mustafa Ali thing.
Yeah, that was brilliant, dude. We didn't even think about that at all. So thank you. So again, we'll see who gets a chance to call their shot, and will they call their shot on the same night, and will they succeed when they call their shot? Because whether it's same night or different night, mixed results. Again, Bully Ray called his shot hard to kill. He fell short. We'll see what happens. And Bully Ray is also part of this thing too.
What if, and this is just like really laying the thickness down.
What are you doing?
But what if Shelly or Alexander, whether new champ, retained champ,
right?
Moose comes, cashes in his briefcase, fails. Winner of the Call Your Shot Gauntlet comes out, cashes in, wins.
Oh, Lord.
All in one jam-packed evening.
That would be nut and futz, and that would be historic. And
that's what Bound for Glory is about, right? Making history. They are bound for glory.
Yeah, but who will claim it is another thing. You're bound for it, but will you actually claim it? That's a whole different question. And I don't think that question is more emphatic than what I think fittingly should be the top two matches on this card. Good luck to all four competitors. They absolutely deserve it. And I guarantee you, whoever wins to call your shot, one of these four, all four of these people better have eyes in the back of their head, because you know whoever calls their shot is gunning for one of the top two prizes in Impact. Guarantee you. And it starts with this. Let me just go ahead and say this real quick. Respect women's professional wrestling, damn it! But I digress. It's not a clusterfuck. It's not a one-off. It's not a hot potato. It's not just a random name. It's not just a pretty face. It's two trailblazers. It's two milestones. It's the fucking Knockouts World Championship. The most premier women's championship in the industry, not from Stardom. There, I said it. Established by Gail Kim first, now held by Trinity, looking to shine the brightest in the biggest glow of her life. Defends the Knockouts World Championship against Hardcore Country Mickie James. Now, I can talk verbatim about this match all night, but I'm not the only advocate here on the Jimmy Devil vs. Mia. Too bad the man on the name Marquis not here either, because I guarantee you the dads now always on Wrestle will be going at this for quite a period of time, and I would love to hear it. But JJ, this is all you, brother. It's Trinity. It's Mickie James. It's the Knockouts World Championship. Future is unknown for both these incredible athletes. One that came from WWE, one that built themselves up through WWE, but started in TNA, came back to Impact, forged her own way, survived her own last rodeo, put it out all on herself, only to succumb to the nature of the beast, injury. Never lost the title. And there's a certain individual she never lost either, title or non-title. And figured about the call your shot gauntlet. JJ, what's the future of the Knockouts World Championship? And what's the future of Trinity and Mickie James? And chat, you can think as long as you want to, as JJ's thinking, because this match got a lot of potential what ifs either way. And before you answer, I'll go ahead and just tell you this, I'll go ahead and tell you this, my brother. It's not unanimous. Three people.
I didn't think it would be.
Three people, though, picked a new champion. The rest so far have picked Trinity to retain. And Trinity arrived on the scene in this very building. Just saying.
That's a fair shake. That's a fair shake.
Speaking of shakes, that sounds like a good drink.
To Keen Mike's point, this is a hard one to call.
Exactly, and I love it.
I look at a couple of things here. I look at the fact that Trinity is still technically a new champion. She's had it a few months.
Correct.
I don't think it's ready for her to drop it yet. Just looking on the surface.
Okay.
But then you look at Mickie. Had to surrender it due to injury. Then you go back to Trinity. Did she possibly get the belt too quickly? Did they just want to feed off of the name of the signing? Then you go back to Mickie. When is her contract up? What is her exit strategy now that her husband is a WWE contracted performer? Whether he ends up getting in the ring or stays as an on-air authority figure like Adam Pearce, we still need to wait and see.
Right.
But could you imagine if his body would allow it, one more match? Triple H and Stephanie McMahon versus Nick Aldis and Mickie James?
Money.
Could you imagine the battle of the power couples? The Miz and Maurice versus Aldis and James. Braun and Cora versus Aldis and James.
Generational.
You know, There's a lot that can be done here.
In victory or defeat for either.
I picked Trinity to retain. And I don't know if I would have done that had Aldous not debuted last week on SmackDown.
Mm.
And that's the God's honest truth. If they had debuted him the night after Survivor Series, the night after Crown Jewel, I think I might have picked Mickey. But with her husband now being over in the WWE, and WWE, brand split, LOL, I know, but WWE having shuffled their pieces around to try to keep couples together because of the travel and everything, I see them making a hard push to try to get Mickey back in the company and putting her on SmackDown so that she can stay with her husband. Plus, then, we may have gotten them during my hiatus, but I'd love to see Mickey Charlotte, Mickey Bianca, Mickey Bailey, Mickey Asuka. There's some bangers right there.
Yeah.
So Trinity retains.
Whew.
And then maybe a turning point, she gives the speech.
The final farewell, the adios, to put it in terms. Okay, look, I still find it unbelievable that Trinity beat the Virtuosa via submission. Not once, but twice. Came onto the scene, beat the Virtuosa, won the title at Slammiversary, and successfully retained it against her in rematch at Emergence. She also retained successfully at Victory Road against Alicia Edwards. Now, Mickie James, she came into Impact Wrestling during the Virtuosa's reign and beat her for the title at Bound for Glory 2 years ago. It was when Mickie James won the Knockouts World Championship for the 4th time before she lost to Natasha Steele due to an emotional car wreck. It's one of those things where at the end of the day, I look at call your shot. I look at also an unfinished business. You're talking about Mickie James and Nick Aldis coming together. We also talked about the Virtuosa maybe going to WWE and the dreaming cards that could be there if they don't fuck up booking. There is one person in Impact Wrestling of long haul that Deonna Purrazzo has not gotten a win against yet. And that is Mickie James. Now, truth be told, the 2 times she lost against Mickie James, the title was involved. Does the title need to be involved where after 5 matches, Jordynne Grace beat the Virtuosa, maybe 3rd time's the charm, the Virtuosa beats Hardcore Country. And Hardcore Country goes off to WWE land, like you said, instead of being written off for dead like they've done with the Knockouts in the past. Cinematic nonsense, good grief. And then I look at Trinity. I look at Jordynne Grace, who called out Trinity along with Deonna Purrazzo when she first arrived. And Jordynne Grace, once again, wants to be the face of the Knockouts division. She beat her greatest rival. Nothing says beat her and going after that title right now, except for maybe the call your shot gauntlet. You talked about yourself. The call your shot winner could cash in the same night. Could they pull a moose and be successful? Why it has to be the men? Why it can't be the women? There's history right there. I talked about Michelle Shaw. She is an uncrowned Knockouts World Champion, and she has the shot entourage in her corner. If she wins call your shot, Michelle Shaw might literally steal the spotlight from one of these two and come out with the title. And again, Trinity for Jordynne Grace hasn't happened yet. Jordynne Grace, Mickie James hasn't happened in quite a while, to my knowledge. I don't think it's even happened in one-on-one capacity. With Mickie James' long-term future in Impact Wrestling unknown, and she has nothing else she needs to prove to herself in that ring. I said with Jerry, if Mickie James goes back to WWE, I could see her being Gail Kim to try and actually make a women's division that matters in quantity and quality that your NXT right now is surpassing the entire WWE main roster with. There, I said it. And is trying to get the Knockouts division run for their money. Not quite there yet. I look at the Knockouts World Championship and how prestigious and precious it is. And Trinity right now has had an incredible run. Again, all it takes is 3 seconds. And we also know how crazy hardcore country can get. So far, it's been respectful build. But now the richest prize is on the line between the middle of these two so-called friends. Do I have to remind you 2006? Lithium? You don't fake Mickie James. We'll go there if needed. I'm just saying. It comes down to Mickie James' long-term plan. If Mickie James is to stay around in Impact Wrestling, she becomes a 6-time Knockouts World Champion. And Trinity, once again, proves her worth and works her way up through the ranks. And there's a ton of whole new feuds and a whole new variety of opponents and landscape for Trinity to face. Trinity hasn't faced that type of pressure yet since rising to the occasion and holding the title. I think there still is unfinished business, particularly for Deonna and Mickie. And that match will decide for me if one or either of those two are leaving. I don't think, though, it needs the title. I think just because of, like you said, the longevity, I think Trinity is going to find a way to out-wrestle Mickie James and retain. It almost feels like this shouldn't be a one-off because, again, it's their first one-on-one encounter in Impact Wrestling, period. But I think I am going to go with Trinity retaining and either the Call Your Shot winner confronts them, and maybe beats them, or Jordan Grace is set up as Trinity's next opponent. Because I think Deonna Purrazzo and Mickie James is going to happen regardless and needs to. But I'm actually going to go with Trinity retaining as well. All I know is I cannot wait for this match to run for my money women's match of the year because that's how important this match is and this title. These two are going to tear the house down. Kill it, ladies. Good luck. But I'm going with Trinity to retain. 87% are going with Trinity to retain as well, but a few people are going with hardcore country Mickie James. Again, it comes down to the long-term planning and the longest story, in my opinion, of the Knockouts division. Deonna Purrazzo, Mickie James. Does the talent need to be involved? Does the virtuoso get the win? Trinity, who confronts her? Jordan Grace, the Call Your Shot gauntlet winner. Is it Grace? Is it Michelle Shaw? Is it somebody else that Trinity has yet to face? Something's going to happen in this match that is going to once again raise and redefine the Knockouts landscape. But I am going to say on paper out of these two, I'm going to say that Trinity retains. And I can't wait. All right. Well, that definitely was a head scratcher. And I'm sure this one might be a similar factor because, I mean, JJ, you know me. I grew up in the Josh Alexander era of Impact Wrestling. He's the longest reigning Impact World Champion in this company's history, outlasting AJ Styles, Sting, Samoa Joe, Kurt Angle, and maybe I've compared him to a modified, present-day Kurt Angle, and of course, the It Factor, Bobby Roode. You grew up, though, of course, in NWA TNA, seeing this man rise through the ranks, whether it's paparazzi, whether it's on his own, whether it's Motion Machine Guns, and any other history you want to come up with. And he's been the guy to lead the way for people like Chris Sabin, like Kazuchika Okada, many others, including Josh Alexander. We're going to finally find out once and for all who the better man, the better wrestler is, and who is the face of Impact Wrestling. May the best man win. One word, JJ. Transitional? Question mark. Impact World Championship on the line. Alex Shelley defends the title against Josh Alexander. It is the one win that Alex Shelley has yet to get. It was last year at Emergence, his first ever chance at the title. He lost to Josh Alexander in what was a 33-minute classic. Since rising finally to the top of the company after 20 years, beating Steve Macklin and ushering in himself as leader of his generation, this generation, he has put the pressure all on himself to the point Josh thinks he's on the verge of collapsing. So, JJ, I ask you, Alex Shelley, does he thrive through the pressure or does he break? And once again, do we usher in the era of Josh Alexander?
I picked Shelley to retain here. It may be a bold prediction.
I mean, what's not bold prediction on this show? Let's just call it what it is.
I mean, I'm the same guy that picked PCO, so you know.
But, well, yeah.
And Joe Hendry. But yeah, I picked Shelley because I feel like Josh getting the belt back is obvious. I feel like the that's the final piece in the puzzle because he wasn't supposed to lose it. Much like Mickey, he got injured right around the same time, had to forfeit his title.
Yep.
But at the same time, Shelley hasn't fumbled yet.
Nope.
He's doing an outstanding job. So why pull the carpet out from underneath him just yet? I don't think you want to do that just yet because Shelley being that guy who's been in and out, a 20-year player for this business and this company, you don't want to have him be that stutter step. You don't want to have him be the guy that you kill that on, that you snuff out too soon.
Right.
Okay, then you give it to Josh Alexander, then what? How long do you let the walking weapon hold it again? Because quite honestly, I was starting to get tired of his run. I feel like he had it too long. I felt like they were starting to back him into a corner a la Roman Reigns, a la Gunther. Who's finally going to be the one to topple him?
And to be fair, one of those three names is definitely overrated, but I digress. Anyway, continue.
That's irrelevant. That's subjectivity, personal feelings.
Yeah,
but you don't. I understand the desire to have a long reigning champion, to have a championship matter and mean something, and have the 50 guys on the roster scratching and clawing and fighting and backstabbing and underhanded deeds to try to get to that spot where they can dethrone the man.
Right.
But then you also don't want to run the risk of making your champion unconquerable. Eventually, the mighty has to fall. Goliath was toppled by David. Rome fell. Caesar was backstabbed. Like every great has their downfall at some point.
Yep.
You don't want to put them on such a pedestal that the person who comes behind them can't follow that. And that's the problem with Roman Reigns right now. Cody Rhodes finishes the story at WrestleMania 40, but then he only holds the title till SummerSlam. So we go from a 1,200, 1,300 roughly day champion to somebody that was only able to hold it for 4 months.
Bleh.
You know what I mean? Like, say what you will about Roman, the follow-up run doesn't feel as monumental. It feels lackluster in comparison. That's where I feel like Josh Alexander's was getting. All these people that were believable champions were falling to the mighty. And now you've got a guy in Alex Shelley who, for lack of a better term, is your cruiserweight wrestler. He's your Shawn Michaels, your Bret Hart. He's not your Kevin Nash. He's not your Big Show. He's not your Rock. He's not your Austin. He's that smaller guy where anybody on the roster could believably crush him, but he somehow manages to keep skating by. Is he going to have as long of a reign as Josh Alexander's reign was? Fuck no! But let him run with this a little bit longer. We want Shelley versus Saban. We can't get to Shelley versus Saban if Josh takes the title. Shelley retains.
I think for Alex Shelley, just to cement his career, he needs to win this. Like I said, he needs to rise to the pressure. Nick Aldis challenged if he was transitional. He beat Nick Aldis at Slammiversary. He beat Hiroshi Tanahashi, who is literally the ace of New Japan, one of the greatest of all time, 6-time IWGP World Champion. I'm just saying. And of course, he also has beaten Steve Macklin, who was basically unstoppable before literally dropping out and not even getting a chance to beat Josh Alexander. And when he finally did under non-title circumstances, Josh Alexander won. And Josh Alexander comes in here with an injury that Alex Shelley can exploit. Yes, he's not injured, but again, he's coming back from a torn tricep surgery. That doesn't freaking recover overnight and never is freaking the same again. And he came back literally in 6 months. Windfire is going to be gone for the whole damn year. It's that. And again, so many other factors. Moose has the freaking World Championship match anytime he wants. He beat Josh Alexander for the title, literally at Bound for Glory, calling his shot the same night he won the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. He has even more power control now to pick his spot anytime he wants with that briefcase. You just said yourself, we want Alex Shelley versus Chris Sabin. Then Chris Sabin needs to retain the X-Division title, catch in option C, or like you said, we truly find out who the best in Impact Wrestling TNA history truly is, and you put both titles on the line, winner takes all. The bottom line here, though, is what is Alex Shelley willing to do? And what does he need to do to beat somebody he's never beaten? That is the guy, the talking point, the standard, the Iron Man of Impact Wrestling. Reincarnated Kurt Angle. No, he is just Josh Alexander, walking weapon. Both these men know each other, the wrestlers, very well. Both these men, they know maybe the person fairly well. But Alex Shelley wrote the blueprint first before Josh Alexander was a thing. And I know Josh Alexander still has it in the back of his head, considering, again, he is an Alex Shelley fan. Well, this is about who is the bigger fan of the other. This is about who is the better wrestler of the other. And for my money, Alex Shelley deserves to finally cement himself as that and hold on to the Impact World Championship. And whether it's Moose, somebody else calls their shot, whether it's Chris Sabin, whether it's somebody outside Impact Wrestling, Tanahashi pinned the man in the 6-man overweight title match at Destruction via Goku. So I'm sure that Tanahashi might call his shot again at some point. I think right now Alex Shelley needs a chance to run this era, his generation of Impact Wrestling, and see what he can build out of it that he already started the blueprint for. I think you're right. This is the one time I'm actually going to agree with you quite literally. I don't think Josh Alexander has anything else to prove. He will always have that pride of being the guy that set the tone for this generation of Impact Wrestling. But now it's Alex Shelley's time, and I think that Alex Shelley needs to retain. And again, champion's advantage. He could win by hook or by crook. And at the point, he doesn't want no asterisks. Both men coming there 100%. I'm going with Alex Shelley. I think Alex Shelley will somehow outlast Josh Alexander. If he doesn't beat Josh Alexander, that is going to destroy Alex Shelley to the point he may never recover. He needs this win. Josh wants this win. I got to go with Alex Shelley. Sometimes you got to go with the person that's more hungry. And believe it or not, sometimes it's actually the champion, not the challenger. Go figure.
Yeah.
All right. And let's see here. We are in the minority. A majority of people are going with Josh Alexander, 15-7. And again, with the fact, like you said, Josh never lost the title. He was unstoppable. He beat Tomohiro Ishii, Eric Young, Joe Doring, Frankie Kazarian, Alex Shelley, Speedball Mike Billy, Bully Ray, and had to relinquish it due to his body beating him. I don't think the body beats Josh Alexander. I think Alex Shelley breaks the man, Josh Alexander. Because I don't know if Alex Shelley can out-wrestle Josh Alexander. I really don't. That's how fine-tuned Josh Alexander is. It's going to take something that Alex Shelley has never shown Josh Alexander to come out with the title. That is going to be the key factor here. That's the only real X factor. I know it's not the X division, but that's the real X factor here. Does Alex Shelley actually shown Josh Alexander everything he can do, or if there's someone that even we don't know that Alex Shelley can do. That's what's going to allow Alex Shelley to win here. Alex Shelley retains, and we'll see what the future holds. As again, we'll see what holds for all everybody soon enough at Bound for Glory, and we thank the opportunity once again to another electrifying conversation here on City Predicting. Get your predictions in. You got till 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, October 21st. That is tomorrow night, Saturday night, to make them official. And JJ, good luck to you, my friend. I'm going to make my predictions official too in the form as well, as I always do. And it's always a pleasure chatting and mingling with you. I'm looking forward to our pre-show hype. And of course, I'm looking forward to me and Datsula calling the action. Before we conclude, a bit of everybody a fine ado. Anything you want to play promote, and where can we find you?
Well, you can find me, of course, on Instagram, the Renegade JJ Williams, on the Twix, ROWJJ Williams, on YouTube, Casa D18 Studios. Thank you to the people that are watching right now. I want to go ahead and throw up a new endeavor that I began called For the Love of Wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
Sent that image to you. If you have
Yes,
that
you
real
did.
quick, bam, there
Yes,
you
sir.
go.
I always try.
Daily reviews, Monday through Thursday, recapping the week's worth of wrestling. Only thing I don't recap right now is Impact, but if a certain Second City Saint becomes an Impact contracted superstar, you may start seeing me cover that on a regular basis. But Monday mornings are my weekend recaps. I'm doing SmackDown, Rampage, and Collisions on Monday. Tuesday I do Raw, Wednesday I do NXT, and Thursday I do Dynamite.
Wow. You busy.
And then we've got a lot of cool stuff. I am going to be a very busy man come Halloween Day, doing not one, not two, but 3 live streams.
Oh,
Plus,
Lord.
there will be a 4th one that's being produced on my channel and across Jeff's channel as well. So if you have that loaded, check out what's coming on Halloween Day across the multiverse of media. Yeah. You're muted, bro.
Oh, good Lord Almighty, you are not kidding.
For the Love of Wrestling at its normal 9 a.m. time slot, that's noon to you Easterners. Then come 11 o'clock Pacific, 2 Eastern. We're going to be doing a special Dad's Not Always on Wrestling episode where Jeff and I are going to rank the 13 official movies in the Halloween franchise.
Oh, gosh.
There's 8 from the original run, then there's the 2 Rob Zombie ones, and then the recent trilogy. Then we're going to do Stat Boy Sports Bar, Happy Hour Edition, and then, of course, our watch-along coverage of Halloween Havoc.
Well, trick or treat, all the treats indeed, and we'll see what sort of tricks are in store in your NXT. But again, I will say it here. It may not be my NXT. It's better than it used to be. This NXT is okay with me. But that being said,
I'm looking forward to this Tuesday, bro. 5 women's matches.
See what they can do. That's all I gotta say.
5.
Let's see what they can do. That's all I gotta say to that.
I hear you, but like I'm excited because I don't know when the last time was that we had that much women's wrestling on a weekly episodic broadcast.
Not that I can remember.
That wasn't its own female league.
I'm about to say Impact Knockdown gave from me, but that was all female things as well. So
2 spin a wheel, make a deal matches featuring women, 2 breakout tournament semifinals, plus Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch for the NXT Women's Championship.
That's the match I'm looking forward to the most because I am a huge fan of Baylor Valkyrie. Screw W name conventions, but I digress. Awesome stuff, JJ. I'm looking very forward to all of it. I always appreciate you. And I hope everybody appreciates all that you do here across the Championship Motivation Media and Cast 18 Studios. And I know I speak on behalf of the family that we definitely appreciate you. And I appreciate everybody that tunes in, even for the post shilling that we do here to keep you on tune towards what's next. And to the 22 that you have gotten so far, thank you again. Be sure to get your predictions in, and good luck to all of you. Just a few comments real quick. Let's freaking go, Gobo Osprey. I'm living for unhinged healed Shelly, which definitely seems to be the case. New champs all night. Grace call shot on Trinity. Okay, we'll see if that person is right in their opinion. Always appreciate it because everybody's opinions matter too. As you all matter as well. So again, thank everybody for tuning in. And if you want to know more about me, know this. Why? For I am but I'll just save it for JJ and Jeff to actually re-edit so I don't get copyright strike. But you know the standard spiel. For I am but a simple man and a lifelong fan of professional wrestling. Damn it! But I digress. So follow me if you choose on the Twitter and on YouTube and in Foster 1916 for all things wrestling. And shout out, of course, to my entire ATW family on the Twitter and our social media platforms. Again, happy birthday, Anthony. Enjoy yourself. Don't rampage too hard. Shout out to my friend Amara J that continues to prove that J is worth more than gold. Go check out her latest match on Spinebuster TV on YouTube. She took on Laura De Mateo. Very good singles match. Keep rising to the occasion, my friend. Kick some ass. Check out our podcast that we created back during the pandemic, the AW View Impromptu. We'll be doing another episode very soon as we head towards November and AEW Full Gear. And who knows what else is in store, All Elite and beyond. So stay tuned for more on that. Check out the weekly conversation on all things All Elite Wrestling and AEW Spark, hosted by Owen Finch and Zero, courtesy of Outdoor Reductions. They do a great job of what I started. So appreciate you, gents, as always. Check out the newest affiliate and, of course, my Impact color analyst, Datilla, at Radiance of Wrestling. Follow her on YouTube and all the social medias. As not only does JJ showcase his love of wrestling, Datilla powers up and showcases her love of her own reviews and recaps of Raw, Dynamite, SmackDown, and Collision as well. And as far as my civil YouTube channel, the brainchild of it is City Predicting. So stay tuned. Dates and live times be determined for Impact Wrestling Turning Point, WWE Crown Jewel, and AEW Full Gear. Those are the next big shows that lie in waiting. And finally, City Predicting, you could always expect a simple take. Now, whether or not I do a simple take on Impact Wrestling, that remains to be seen. But you always can follow Datilla on her YouTube channel for its wrestling time. I'm sure she'll do a review for Bound for Glory. And Turning Point. But me and JJ will definitely be doing a simple take for Crown Jewel and AEW Full Gear once those shows conclude. And speaking of shows, there is so much more beyond these that's coming up, including Halloween Havoc, as JJ alluded to. So keep in tune to the Championship Network live watch on event calendar as we cover Bound for Glory, Halloween Havoc, Night 1, Night 2, Turning Point, Crown Jewel, the Friday Night War that's going to ensue in November, AEW Full Gear, and give you a bit of a taste before your feast as we cover AEW Dynamite Thanksgiving Eve. And that's just some of the stuff coming up here on the Championship Network Multiverse of Mia and so much more, along with the weekly shenanigans that are open-minded, also hosted by JJ. And you can also catch that after Bound for Glory, where this week, it's game night. We're going to play a game. As it will be a battle of the siblings in Haunted Hangman, for whatever that refers to. So stay tuned for more on that. And again, me and JJ, we're doing great stuff for the members only session. So become a member today at Cast 18 Studios. Check out our live calls for all sorts of different matches across all things wrestling. And continue the long and roundy road on our journey to 40, as we will call every WrestleMania up to WrestleMania 40. And you guys will get live recaps of those watch-along reactions on your road to WrestleMania 40 starting next year in 2024. And for all this content, for all this passion, for everything we do, it is not possible without you. So again, on behalf of the Championship Muslims Media, we simply thank all of you. And as always, I'd like to conclude, there are no winners, there are no losers, there are no betters, just fans with opinions with this passion we all share. So at the end of the day, folks, support one another, respect each other, protect your mentality too, treasure your families, and just enjoy life and enjoy professional wrestling. It is truly as simple as that. But with that being said, thank you so much once again for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, comment, and tell a friend. Hit the bell so goes live on demand on either of these YouTube channels or anybody here at the Multiverse of Media. Hit the subscribe button. Help us keep growing our YouTube communities. I assure you our creative passion, our content's not laid anytime soon, as this month marks my 5-year anniversary in YouTube. It's been a lot of fun, and I look forward towards whatever the future holds in store, whether it's calling, analyzing, reacting, predicting, commentating, you name it. I'm always going to be something in some way for wrestling, because that's what I'm forever grateful for. But again, until tomorrow night, we now leave you towards your Friday night delights, whether it's wrestling or something else. So until next time, we're back here on the Japanese Internet Mother Mia, bringing you our coverage for Bound for Glory. Again, that is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Pacific for a pre-show. We'll see you all then. So make a positive impact in life. And until tomorrow, have a good night.
Stay safe, y'all.
And Impact has already made their impact. Make yours too. Forge your own way and bound yourself for better days, as we are all bound for glory. Thank you, Impact Wrestling. And thank you, Japanese Mother Mia viewers. Adieu.